All right. Cool. Everybody should see my iPad here. Let me make sure it's on Do Not Disturb.
There we go.
All right. We'll talk about pricing. All right. Welcome, everybody. I am Jason Hull, and next to me is my wife, Sarah. And this is, I cannot see everybody. Every time I share my screen now, I can't see people. I don't know.
I don't know. I think because it moves it somewhere else.
Let me look here. Preferences, participants. All right, let me just get set up here and then we'll get going. And we're going to move quick.
Feeling better?
You mute everyone. All right, let's see. Find video. All right. Oh, Kyle Thompson's here too.
Yes, Don just walked in and pretty
don't
sure she got the
do it.
bill last night. Let me
Okay.
go ahead and transfer you, okay?
Okay. All right. Sorry, I got muted too with everybody else. All right. Cool. Let's and use dual monitors. All right, uncheck that. All right. There we go. Now I can see people. All right. Oh my goodness, my computer's really stressing out. Everything's moving really slow. There we go. All right. Let me see if I can. Okay. I'm going to move this over here. See if I can make this bigger. Okay. All right, let's do this. Everybody can see my screen. Let me make sure I have the chat up as well. I've got like 4 monitors here, 4 screens. So make sure I've got the chat so I can see what everybody's saying. So cool. Everybody
I'm monitoring the chat.
cool. Everybody comment in the chat where you currently are and where you manage and the name of your company. We'd love to know who's here with us today. And yeah, go ahead and comment in the chat. And then if you could figure out who's making noises and make sure they're muted. I keep hearing people.
I can mute everybody, including you.
Is there an option to mute participants?
Mute all.
What's that ... Okay.
That's already turned on.
Okay.
So.
All right. Cool. If everybody could just keep their mics muted while we're going through this, unless I ask you to talk, obviously. All right. Cool. So let's get into this. So let me give you a little bit of background. So my bold promise is that by the end of today's call, you should at least be considering making some changes to your pricing and maybe be open to the idea that there is a new method or way to do pricing that's beyond the standard model that exists in the industry. And maybe that you're also leaving some serious money on the table. And your pricing model, my goal and hope is to show that it is probably attracting you the wrong portfolio. It's attracting you a lot of the low end stuff that you really aren't as interested in that has a much higher operational cost. And so it makes your business significantly less profitable than what my clients are experiencing currently. So that's what we're going to be covering today. Let me get this out of the way. And I need to be able to see my notes. And we're going to get into this. So I'm going to share with you several of the secrets that we teach clients related to pricing. I was really debating. I was like, should I just like share stuff openly? I'm just going to share stuff openly as much time as we have, because I know that some of you are going to want some help with this. And this is the kind of thing that we do. And this really is just a small piece of the cool stuff that we do here at DoorGrow to optimize property management businesses, help them become scalable, help them grow. And that's what we're going to be doing here. So, okay, I need to pull this up on my phone because my computer is struggling, dying a slow death here. All this stuff going on. All right, let me get my pricing notes. Okay, pricing strategy. Okay. Here we go. All right, cool. So we're going to go quick. You may want to take notes. If you have a pen handy, you might want to write some stuff down, and then go ahead and also put in the chat if we're curious as a team. What do you feel like maybe is your biggest challenge or problem in your business? Typically, we hear it is either you want to add more doors. That's your biggest challenge, which I think is a super easy problem to solve, or your biggest challenge is maybe, especially if you're in the 200 to 400 door range or higher, you may not actually want to add doors because unconsciously or subconsciously it's painful and you're not really enjoying your day-to-day or your business. So that would be maybe operations. You're now dealing with the challenge of we need more processes, we need more operations. You probably think you need more KPIs, which is probably not true. So you probably think you need more profitability, right? So there's those are all things that we can help you with. So go ahead and let us know in the chat, and then my team will reach out to each of you to follow up and see, what did you think of this? Is there some way that we can help you with that? We've heard it all. I've worked with talked to thousands of property managers. We've heard it all over the last decade, and we are excited to support you. All right, so let's get into some of these pricing things. So the first principle that I want you to understand is that there are 3 types of buyers. So we're going to get into a little bit of psychology here, and there's 3 types of buyers. And so these 3 types of buyers I call the cheapos, the normals, and the premiums. And many of you are pricing yourselves.
Jason, I got that.
Okay, are pricing yourselves. There's people still trying to get in. There's people pricing themselves according to the cheapos largely, because the thing I want you to realize is that when it comes to everybody that's available, all the potential market that's available out there, very few have awareness of property management. So these ones are aware. This is the potential market of all the people that potential aware. And then out of that, there's those that have a good perception. So they're aware, but they're like, most property managers suck, they think, or you probably yourself think most property managers in your market suck, but not you, right? That's what I always hear, right? And so the perception of the industry as a whole is pretty negative. And so they're like, oh, they just collect rent and they steal from people and they don't do anything and they're lazy, whatever, right? You've heard the negative stuff that people believe about property managers. And then out of those, usually word of mouth is going to capture the good stuff. And then out of that, we've got this, which is basically SEO. It's all the internet marketing stuff, which is like pay per lead, pay per click, like APM, stuff like this. It's all internet marketing, basically. Internet marketing. And what I want you to realize, and this over here, you make a lot more money more easily. And over here, you make a lot less money because people become more and more price sensitive as they move along this scale. So the blue ocean really is out here where the best business is, and the red ocean where the sharks are hanging out. This is a shark fin, right? This is where everybody is spending all their money on all of this internet marketing stuff. And it's really costly, and you're attracting the shittiest, lowest quality, most price sensitive stuff. Basically the scraps that fall off the word of mouth table. And all of you have gotten some word of mouth business, and you know that word of mouth has like a 90% close rate. Like it's really high, and cold leads or those you're getting from the internet where you're just now a commodity and they're just looking for the cheapest company. Usually there's like a 10% close rate. And this costs a lot of money to run ads for cold lead marketing and to do all this stuff. It's really expensive and it takes more time. You'll spend more time following up on cold leads than you would on warm leads, right? So the ideal I want everyone to understand is to get warm leads further out here. We want to go this way. So hopefully word of mouth, maybe people that are aware of property management and have a positive perception, maybe people that just have awareness, but they don't have a good perception, you know, or the potential market, right? Now, of these three types of buyers, the cheapos, they're right here. They're at the end of the sales cycle. These are the cheapos. That's what's left over. The word of mouth has already captured the better stuff. And if you can capture people that are not even looking on the internet, the people that are out in this blue ocean, that's where the magic happens. Because out here, you are creating market share. There is currently, according to the most recent iceberg report I looked at, it was like only 30% of rental properties in single family residential were professionally managed. 70% were DIY, right? 70%. In Australia, 80% of rental properties in single family residential roughly are professionally managed by a property manager. 80%. What that means is the US is lagging behind in terms of awareness and perception for property management. These are the two biggest hurdles in the industry. So how do we sidestep that? That's stuff that we teach at DoorGrow. How can you go create business without spending money, without cold, shitty leads, and without competing with everybody else, and you can grow faster than the biggest companies in your market? And that's the stuff we focus on. Now, at the end of this sales cycle here, these are the cheapos. You attract more of the cheapos because they're just looking for somebody that's the cheapest. That's what's left over. Whereas the other people are like, I want to find the best company, right? That's more word of mouth. So we've got cheapos, and to understand this, cheapos are about, usually in most markets, about 20% of buyers. Normals are about 61%, and premiums are about 15% psychologically of buyers. Normals are people that like are kind of in the middle, that find the right balance. Now, cheapos' biggest concern is money. Dollar signs, just looking at these dollar signs. If you're a cheapo psychologically, seeing those dollar signs hurts you a little bit on the inside, like you feel pain. These are typically not like the types of clients I tend to work with because they tend to attract cheapos as well. So a lot of times I either have to convince you and sell you on the idea of becoming more normal or more of a premium buyer. And so cheapos are always trying to find the cheat code. They're always trying to find the discount code, the deal. They do things cheaply and they end up spending more money in the long run, right? They do the cheap fixes on the rental properties and then they have some big major issue and they end up wasting and spending a lot more time and a lot more money and they end up losing. They're gambling against the house and the house always wins. Then you've got, oh, you're going to need to get that. So the normals are the largest group, and this is the group you should be focused on. This is the magic sweet spot you should be focused on because this is where there's a lot more money. While most people are focusing on this and in a race to the bottom in the industry, we want to focus on the normals. This is part of the secret to having really effective pricing. And then the premiums, they're the smallest group. They care more about status. They care about a better experience. They care about less effort. They want the best flights, the best rental cars, the best products. They're willing to spend more to get more. Spending isn't painful for them. They would rather have a better experience. And so they're a much more fun type of client to work with, right? And usually premium buyers are more hands-off. Premium owners that you would be working with actually cost you less in terms of staffing. They cost you less in terms of time. You make a lot more money with off of premium buyers because the operational cost is lower and the amount of money you can make off of them is higher. So this is one of the first ingredients that needs to be understood. And you know from the clients you've had calls with or dealt with. Now, if you do not have 3 types of pricing for these 3 types of buyers, then you are probably just pandering to the cheapos and you're leaving a lot of money on the table. You have clients right now that are probably premium buyers. You have clients right now that are probably more in the normal category, and they would be willing to spend more money with you if you're aware of that. So this is a big ingredient I want all of you to understand. All right. Now, what you need to do is you need to determine how you show up, because we all have an inherent blind spot as a business owner that you may be a cheapo, you may be a normal, and you may be a premium buyer. If you, wherever you are on this, you will always have a blind spot concerning the other categories. You will see, you think the world sees things the way you do, and it's not true. It's not always true. There are 2 other types of buyers out there that think differently than the way you do. And what I find is, I'll give you an example. I once had a client, and he was complaining about all the people that were so cheap and asking for discounts. And I saw on Facebook, like all these owners asking for cheap and they're asking for discounts, whatever. And then he went into our DoorGrow Club Facebook group, which you can all join by going to doorgrowclub.com. Lots of great free stuff. But in that group, he had posted, hey, anybody have a discount for Property Meld or Tenant Turner or something like that? He was asking for a discount. He was showing up as a cheapo. And when we show up as a cheapo, we tend to attract cheapos more, right? So that's one thing I challenge all of you to work on. And we have some mindset stuff we help our clients with related to that we don't have time to get into. But so what this means is you need 3 plans. So this is the beginning of having really effective pricing. If there's nothing else you gain from today, come up with 3 plans. My favorite words for these are economy, because we want this to sound gross to premium buyers. So this is for the cheapos. Economy, and then full service. This just sounds like it's like the full deal for the normals. And then you can call this one like premium or elite, something that shows some sort of status. You can do bronze, gold, silver, or things like that. But I like to make this sound unappealing and gross to premium buyers, is kind of my goal. Maybe even a little bit gross to normals. So other terms, you can use basic, economy, budget. Premium buyers don't want to rent the budget rental car, for example. They don't want the economy plan or the economy flight, right? Okay. Now, a lot of you will have the question, what do I include in these 3 plans, right? So I'm just going to give you some real high level stuff. We go deep on it with our clients and we map this out for them. We give them examples, but the general rules and principles is for the cheapos, you need to leave out something that is most normals need to have in order to feel safe. And so what we're doing between these 3 plans is we need to find the balance between the main thing that buyers want, which is safety and certainty, peace of mind, however you want to call it. That's the main thing people want to buy from you, not property management. They don't really give a shit about property management. They want to buy peace of mind or safety and certainty. And what the cheapos want, which is the lowest price, right? And so that's how this spectrum is going to work, right? Your premium plan is going to provide the most amount of safety and certainty, while your economy plan is going to provide the cheapest price, but the least safety and certainty. So an example of this, one of the easiest things in order to feel safe is to have inspections. So maybe on this plan, there are no inspections included. If that freaks you out, you can require it, but it's a one-off fee. You can require it, but it's one-off fee. They're not included. Whereas your premium one, maybe you're doing like 2 inspections, and this one you get 1 inspection, right? That's an example. Your premium option should provide the highest level of service, the most safety and certainty. You might have some other products connected to your premium option that go above and beyond to make people feel safe. And you're going to be able to have a lot more profit margin on that premium option and make more money. So this allows people to psychologically choose which plan that they want to be a part of. So you might have more guarantees on your premium option, et cetera. Then you need to figure out what do most people want in order to have this balance between price and safety and certainty? Here, the sweet spot in the middle. So I call this the Goldilocks principle. We all know the story of Goldilocks, right? And there was the 3 porridges, the 3 chairs, the 3 beds, right? And in each instance, something was just not enough for her, or it was too hard or too soft, or it was too much for her. And the middle was always just right, right? So you need to figure out like, what is just right? I want to move this window, but it's not letting me. All right, I'll just keep going. All right, so the Goldilocks principle is a universal principle. The Earth itself exists in what's called a Goldilocks zone. If the Earth were any closer to the sun, water would not exist as in water form on this planet, and no life as we know it would exist. If we were further away from the sun, it would be an ice planet, and life as we know it wouldn't exist. We're in this sweet spot where water is actually water instead of vapor or ice, right? They call that the Goldilocks zone. And they're always looking for other planets that are in that Goldilocks zone because it means they might have life similar to the Earth, right? So the Earth is kind of an example of that. We need to create this Goldilocks zone for our clients so that they look at these plans and they go, ooh, that economy one is not enough for me to feel safe. And that premium option one, gosh, I really want it, but it's too expensive for me. That middle one is just right. And this economy plan, usually I coach my clients that this is priced similar to all of your competitors. So this is more. So you're actually able to convince people to go to a higher level plan and spend more money with you. You have a plan that's competitive with the rest of the market. And as you know, everybody else in your market sucks, right? Most of your competitors suck, right? So this allows you to be that premium option and to allow them to choose which one would they feel most comfortable in. It gives them the option of choice. And when people don't have choice, their only other way, and everybody needs to have a sense of choice, they will go choose to look at all of your competitors. So they feel like they're making a choice. When you give them 3 price points, it kills that need to go into the marketplace to feel safe, to have options and to create choice. You're giving them choice. Okay. All right. The next thing I want to talk about, I'll share a couple different principles related to pricing. One is price anchoring. Price anchoring, the principle is basically I'll just show like an example. So you'll have like, this is $100 and on sale now for, $79, that sort of thing. This is called an anchor. Anchoring can go either way. It could be like, we used to charge only $79, but now we're $100. That's like kind of a negative price anchoring. They're going to be like, ooh, why is this more expensive? Right? So price anchoring is where you have a higher price next to the lower price. So by having a premium option, you also create a semblance or an idea of price anchoring, and it allows you to close more people on your full service plan. Allows you to close more deals because you're able to anchor a higher price first and go into that and come down. And well, if that's too much and it's, too thick for you and it's too expensive, cool. Here we have this other option and that sort of thing. So the other principle I want to share with you is, besides price anchoring, the next principle is the bandwagon principle. I should use a different color here. So the bandwagon. All right. The bandwagon principle is basically this. Most people on the planet are not entrepreneurs like you, which means they don't value fulfillment, freedom, contribution, or support. These I call the 4 reasons more than safety and certainty, that 5th reason. Safety and certainty to them, it comes first. They want to feel safe first. This is why they would rather everyone give up their freedoms and wear a mask first, right? And that's okay. That's what they want. They want safety and certainty. But most entrepreneurs give up the safety and certainty because we want more freedom. That's a higher priority for us. All of these are good things, but you need to recognize most people on the planet want safety and certainty. And the way we create safety and certainty is we follow the herd. We stick with other people. That makes us feel safer. We're safer in communities. We're safer around others. And we want to do what everybody else is doing. And this is a very powerful motivator psychologically for people. The way we employ the bandwagon principle in selling your product or your service is we say that this middle plan is our most popular plan. Most of our clients choose this. This is the best option for most of our clients. And they're going to go, cool, I will just go with the herd. I'll go with that. This is very powerful motivator in sales. And you cannot do that unless you have 3 plans, right? So that's the bandwagon principle that we get into. And I know I'm going through these quick, so, but we have a lot to cover. Dummy pricing. So dummy pricing, the principle of dummy plans or dummy pricing. I'll give you a quick example. There was once upon a time, there was like a newspaper, and they had the digital version, they had the print version, and then they created a bundle that was both. And I'll just put both. And they were like, cool, the print version is $99, and they're having trouble selling. Everybody just wanted the digital version. So what they did is they, I don't know, let's say this, I'm just going to use bad math because we're going fast. Let's say they were like, this is $200, which is not what it was, but this is this, but we're going to cross it out. Oh, no. Well, this, all right, $200. And they just said that this is more, and they crossed it out and they said it's the same. And they, and I think they got, what was it? Print, digital. And I think they got rid of this, something like this. But the idea is to create, like you could say digital is more expensive or something like that. But the idea is you have a plan that is a dummy plan. Like these they're really the same plan. And this is a dummy. This is a decoy. They call it decoy pricing too. This is a decoy. So people look at this and go, wow, that's so much more value. I can get both. So then they were able to get people to do the print version still because they wanted both, right? It was psychologically clever, right? And so that's dummy pricing. By having an economy plan that people do not generally want, most normals are not going to feel safe enough with that plan. Like you would describe this plan as these are the people that don't give a shit about the tenants. They don't care about the property. They're not really a buy and hold strategist. They're not in it for the long game. They just want to do things as cheap as possible and maybe get out of the property as quick as possible. That's how you can describe it. And they're going to be like, oh, that's not me. This is with a sweet spot. Most people feel safest with this option. This gives you the most safety and certainty and peace of mind concerning your property. Most costs are already set in it. That sort of thing. And that's the other factor is this is going to have more fees, like one-off fees associated with the economy plan, where there's a premium option is going to be more all-inclusive. That provides more peace of mind. Okay, that's another general principle. Okay. And we have all of this in a training for our clients called Pricing Secrets, and we get into that in our rapid revamp where we're cleaning up all the major leaks in a business. And this is one of the major leaks is pricing. So there's other odd principles like 9 blindness and odd numbers. So in general, large corporations, they know this. So they'll use 9s because people can't see 9s for some reason psychologically or subconsciously. So for example, how many of you use a Mac and you've got like OS, whatever it is now, 14 or 12, right? How many of you use Mac? How many of you use a PC and you had maybe Windows 10 at one point or something, right? Here's what's interesting. Windows 8 existed. Windows 10 existed. There was never a Windows 9. Nobody noticed, which is even weirder. Yeah, I see some of you laughing. Go find, where's Windows 9? It didn't exist. Here's the other thing. Everybody saw OS X, right? That was so cool. And there was OS 8. There was no OS 9. It never existed for Mac. They skipped it. But if you look at their software, like everything, their phones, everything, they're always using 9s, right? Because they want to minimize the price. So the way that you can leverage this is with one-off fees and things like that. You could do 99 or 79 or whatever. Odd numbers tend to be a little bit more effective. From what I've seen or found in a lot of instances. But you can play around with this and that works more on budget or value-based pricing, right? You can use 9s. You can even, instead of like, you could use 9% instead of 10, maybe. You could use 1.9% instead of like 2, right? Stuff like that. So 9 blindness is another principle you could employ and being effective psychologically for pricing. Okay, so let's now talk about hybrid pricing. So hybrid pricing, generally there's three models, right? You're going to have flat, you're going to have percent, and then you're going to have hybrid. And so in general, flat fee makes a lot of sense if you're in a really low rent market. Like let's say rent's only $500 on average in your market, right? That would mean if this were a percent, you would make $50, right? And so flat, if you're charging like, hey, we're going to do 79 in this market because our average rent is so much lower, you're making more money by having a flat fee, right? So we've got flat, percent, and hybrid. And so related to percentage, in some markets, it's not enough. Now, what tends to happen, and both of these have their advantages, right? When you're selling. So those of you that have flat fee, you probably say, well, those percentage guys and gals are bad, sick, and wrong, and they're unethical because they're collecting so much more money because, you know, let's say you get a $5,000 property and they're trying to charge, let's just say 10% to be easy. Then they're going to get $500. And this is probably one of the easiest properties they'll ever manage because the tenants are super easy. The property is nice and maintained. Like this can have a much lower operational cost. And this is unethical. They're bad, sick, and wrong. Right. And so what ends up happening is a lot of you don't stick to your guns on your pricing. So you're like, oh, well, you know, we charge this amount if we can get away with it. But usually we're going to offer you a discount. And then for the low rent ones, you're like, well, that's way too little. This is way too little. So we have a minimum. Our minimum is like $99 or, you know, whatever. Right. And so then you have a minimum to kind of get the price up. Right. And so what this does is this is maybe more fair for you, but this is unfair. And so what ends up happening in percentage pricing, why I feel it's a little bit unethical, is that what most companies are doing is they're trying to use these higher rent properties to subsidize the low rent properties. Because a lot of you take on a lot of these low rent properties and then you're not making enough money, but instead of making sure you're really getting paid well, you either have to add some sort of minimum. So you're not really 10%, you're 10% plus we've got this like padding or this minimum. So it looks kind of like, well, looks kind of like this. You're like, well, it'll go down to here and then we have a cutoff, right? And that's percent. But then you're like, but we're willing to go as ridiculously high as possible, even though the higher rent properties are easier to manage in a lot of instances and have easier, better tenants. And we're going to try and get the full amount from you. And so what ends up happening is because of this model, you end up attracting more and are more appealing to some people that are kind of in this range, like you're attracting more low rent properties. And the high rent properties that are easier to manage, you're getting less of because you are trying to squeeze money out of them, but a lot of you will then give a discount. So it ends up really looking like this for most of your portfolio in this range, because you're offering a discount on those high rent ones and you're trying to get a minimum out the low rent ones, or you're just not having a minimum. And then you're just trying to get as many of these as possible to subsidize this, to make up for this, which is unfair to these owners, right? It's unethical or unfair to these owners, right? So at the high end, it's unfair to you. It's or at the high rent ones, it's unfair. Like let's say this is 5K and this is 500. At the high rent, it's unfair to the third party owners. And at the low rent, it's unfair to you. You're not getting paid well enough. So hybrid solves this problem. It solves this problem because it brings, by having also a flat fee, it creates sort of a minimum because you're guaranteed to get that amount. And it decreases the amount connected to percent because of that. And so it compresses this. It does this naturally. And what that does is it makes you more appealing and attractive to the high rent property owners than your competition. So you're more attractive. And on these, you're getting paid more. So you're less attractive to the low rent owners. And so what happens with your operational costs, because let's say your operational cost on a property is realistically like here, especially on the low rent ones, right? You have then, you'll have a lot more profit margin if you have less of these low rent ones and you're incentivizing the high rent ones. So this creates a proper incentive structure, and it's more ethical and fair to your high rent property clients who are probably more premium buyers. And so now if we take this hybrid model and then we pair it up with the 3 plans, what ends up happening is, so, right, we've got normals, premiums. These are psychological types of buyers, cheapos. And then we have, actually, I want to do it this way. We've got, let's do it this way. We've got, let's do these by rent amounts. Let's say this is, I want this to be median. All right, so this is the middle. For most markets, this is going to be somewhere between like 2,000 to 2,500. These are going to be lower rent. Maybe it's like 7, or something. And this might be like 3 to 5K or something, depending on the market. If you're in DC, this is like super skewed, right? You make a lot of money, right? So you've got these, you've got low, median, and high rent. And then you've got cheapos, normals. How are we doing on time? All right, we're all right. Premium. Trying to go quickly here. All right. Now, let's say, the typical fee in most markets, for example, let's say it's 10% or something like that. So what ideally we would want is we would want it to look maybe something like, let me pull something up here. Okay. Man, I think it's time to upgrade my Mac. Okay. So here's what I want you to understand. So this is the sweet spot. This is 61% of buyers are in the normal category. And typically about what I usually find in most markets, this is roughly about 70% of the properties that are in your market are somewhere in this middle range, whatever that is. So if you take, what I usually recommend is you take 5 different types of properties, lowest rent to highest rent, and figure out what are the percentages for each of these. And usually you're going to see like somewhere in the middle, you've got 2 types of properties that are roughly about 30, 35%. So combined, it's maybe about 60, 70%. So this is a sweet spot. This is where you make the most money, is by making sure your pricing is optimized for these 2 categories, right? For the normals and for the median pricing. Most of you will find your pricing is optimized probably for the cheapos, and is probably focused on maybe not so much on the normals. But here's the idea. So if we're looking at this, let's just say, and this is not actual pricing, but your pricing with your hybrid plan, which means you have a percent, which means you have some sort of percentage. It's going to be a lower percentage, a very low percentage, without talking specific fee amounts. And please mute yourself, everybody. And then have some sort of fee, which is going to be, some sort of fee that's lower. And the goal psychologically is this should be lower than all of your competitors' percentage, their percentage. And the flat fee should be lower than all of the flat fee companies' flat fee in your market. So that if they're trying to compare psychologically, it looks better. And you'll need to play around with the math. We have a really cool spreadsheet we use with clients to showcase this. I'm going to show you the high level version of this, but it's going to roughly look something like what this breaks down to is roughly, this is going to be maybe about, what's normal in your market is about 10%. This is how you want to price this out. So it comes out to roughly about 10% when you combine these 2 elements. And it's going to look something like this. So your premium plan is going to be more. So you're looking for this kind of goal. So you have an option with the high rent property. As a premium buyer, you're going to get more of a percentage here. Whereas this might be less. This might be like maybe 8 and maybe even here it's like 6 or 7, right? Right. So, but this is the goal. This is how you make the most money, is make sure you have this sweet spot so that you're competitive with your cheapos on the cheapest plan for the cheapest properties. You're competitive with all your competitors here, and you're still getting paid enough to make sure it's worth it. But if they're a normal buyer, you're maybe making more, right? Premium, maybe even more on these properties. So these are just rough numbers, and you'll need to play around, and we help clients figure out how to do all this. But this is the general idea. It's going to be something like this. And so what ends up happening is, if you are able to attract more premium buyers or sell more effectively, and we also, that's the other ingredient, is the more effective you are at selling this. And I don't have time to go into that, how to sell it, but we teach clients how to sell this. We had one of our clients change to this model, and he was closing 35% on his premium plan because he got more effective at selling this. So he was making even more money. So I said, if you're that effective at selling this, raise your pricing now. Now you can raise it even more. So he's already on average making more money than his competitors, but he was able, his close rate was higher. The major ingredients are, just like I had talked about, are when it comes to price sensitivity, it's getting into that blue ocean like we talked about. It's having this 3-tier hybrid. So you've got 3 plans, and you've got hybrid, and all of these things psychologically, and you employ Goldilocks principle, all this, when you start to stack all of this stuff, and you're effective at selling, which we teach clients how to sell based on trust and safety and certainty instead of features and benefits, because nobody cares about property management. They don't give a shit about property management. Then all these things combined, you will make a lot more money. You're able to close more deals more easily at a higher price point, because these people are less price sensitive. This allows you to shift them from being a cheapo a lot of times to being a normal, or from being a normal to being a premium if you're an effective seller and effective at sales, which we'll teach you to do that. And then they will be able to find that sweet spot. So you're going to be competitive with the majority, and you still have options that are still competitive, but you have opportunities to make a lot more money than your competition. And not only that, but this type of model means you're going to be far more attractive to these high rent properties, right? You're far more attractive. This is usually what will probably happen, but you're far more attractive to the high rent properties, a little bit less attractive to the low rent properties, right? So you'll filter out some of the cheapos, but you'll attract more of the premiums. You'll attract more of these types of buyers and less of these types. And so your portfolio will have a lower operational cost, which means you're going to have a lot more profit, right? Because if we can take the amount of money you're making, let's say it's exactly the same, but your operational cost with this new model instead is lower because you have better properties, better tenants. You're not in the cycle of suck, as I call it. So this gets moved downward. You're going to have more profit, which is what's in between, right? Or let's say, yeah, you were decreasing your expenses. That's what's down here. And if we can increase the amount of money that you're making just slightly, like if we can increase this, move this up, you're going to have more profit margin, right? Cool. That's a bad drawing. But anyway, you get the idea. Okay. I think we've covered. So in summary, basically, we're compressing the range of fees so it's more fair to you on the low rent. We're compressing this. It's more fair to the high rent owners on the high rent, which the advantage of this is you never, ever have to create some sort of minimum or raise your price, and you never have to offer a discount. You can stick to your pricing. And when you stick to your pricing, the secret I teach clients is that you create more safety and certainty, because if you give somebody a discount or cave on your pricing, you're destroying the one thing they want to buy from you, which is safety and certainty and peace of mind. They're like, oh, well, we normally would charge this, but for you, we'll give you a discount. Cool. Why don't you just charge me that all the time? What else can I get you to change? Can I get you to make some changes to your contract? Can I get you to do this? Can I micromanage you a bit more? None of you want to be working with micromanaging owners, and they micromanage you when they don't trust you. And this is one of the easiest ways to destroy trust. And I want you to understand that sales and deals happen at, I'm going too fast here, the speed of trust. Don't destroy trust to get a deal. So hybrid pricing will allow you to have pricing that doesn't destroy trust or safety and certainty, because you'll be able to stick to it. And if they say, well, I don't want this, I want something cheaper, cool, we have a cheaper plan. Or I'm hoping to be taken care of a little bit better. I don't know if this is really going to make me feel safe enough. Cool, we have a premium option. So they'll get to choose, and you get to allow them to just choose where they fit psychologically. And so I'll give you one tip also when selling it. When selling it, you don't want to sell the plans. You want to sell the type of person. So you're going to explain, this is a good fit if you're this. And you should have qualified them well. You should know them. You should have asked questions. Fred, I know that you are more of this type of buyer. You might be a premium buyer. So here's this, right? This is where you might feel the most comfortable. And here's why, right? Okay. That is about all we have time to get into related to this. I want to just, in wrapping up the hour here, I want to just explain really quick a little bit about what we do at DoorGrow. Some of you might be interested in this. You might be interested in working with us. So one of the things that we do is, this is a hose. One of the things that we do is we help shore up the pipeline leaks that exist in a business. And a lot of you think, I just need more leads, right? And this is a spigot here, and it's got this, and you're trying to turn on the water. And a lot of you think, I just need more leads. I just need to do more marketing, spend more money. So you funnel more money, time, energy, cash, effort. I don't know how to draw effort. This is a arm with a muscle. There you go. All right, effort, time, energy, cash, effort. Oh, and focus. Right, these I call the 5 currencies. So you're investing this into the business. So you're going to go like spend a bunch of money trying to do SEO or pay-per-click or content marketing or all this stuff that doesn't work as effectively, which I showcased earlier. And meanwhile, what doesn't make sense is you have some major leaks in this hose, but you're like, I just need to do more. So you have some major leaks, and the major leaks in this pipeline, one of them is pricing. Now all of you can see that you have a blind spot related to pricing. Hopefully you've had a major leak there, and we would love to help you get that leak dialed in. There are other significant major leaks. One might be at the outset, maybe your website is leaking money massively. If you want to see this leak, you can go to DoorGrow. Somebody can post a link in the chat, doorgrow.com/quiz. And you can take the website quiz, and you can grade your website in terms of how effective it is at capturing leads and converting people and creating trust and making you money. It doesn't matter how amazing it is or how connected it is, your property management software. If you want to make more money, this is probably a leak in your business. We are really good at shoring up this leak. Nobody else is as good at shoring up this leak as DoorGrow. We shore up this leak with people. And we've been doing websites for over decades. So we focus on conversion optimization and making sure these are psychologically effective, similar to the psychology that I shared with you that I put into pricing. My magic goes into the website as well. So we've got the website, we've got your reputation, and we've got methods and systems here. So our clients are able to get the majority of all of their tenants and owners giving them positive reviews online and multiple channels. And that becomes a growth engine that feeds their business. So, but you might have some leaks here. We're able to shore up that leak. We have a leak I call purpose. This is going to prevent you from being able to scale past the 200 to 400 doors sand trap, because you won't have solid culture in your business, and you'll be attracting wrong team members, and you'll be building a team around you that you find frustrating, where you're always saying, why can't they just think for themselves? This is the greatest inhibitor for people to break the 600 door barrier. And what do we got here? Pricing. And I call this one perception. They're all P's because I like alliteration. But perception, and this is presence, online presence. And what else am I missing, Sarah?
Pitch.
Pitch. Oh, sales pitch. Yeah. A lot of you think you know how to close deals. We can probably double your close rate. I believe selling is all about authenticity. It's all about trust. And this purpose piece is a major piece that goes into this. My personal purpose, or why, is to inspire others to love true principles. What that means is I love figuring out what works. I'm insatiable at learning stuff and figuring out what works. I shell out I shell out 6 figures annually plus 6 figures annually for coaching, mentors, stuff like that. I'm always learning. If my business feeds my addiction to that, I love to learn and I love sharing with other people. I would do it for free for fun, like I am for many of you right now. This is for free, right? Pitch. And so we want to make sure your pitch is effective, but your purpose goes into that. And our purpose, our why at DoorGrow, is to transform property management business owners and their businesses. So I get to live my purpose, my dream, through what I want to most be doing through my business. All of your businesses should be allowing you to have fulfillment, freedom, contribution, and support. And if you don't have those 4 reasons, you're not going to be happy in your business, and it's not going to make as much money. And you will not have team members that are able to have those 4 things. And if you did, you would get 3 times the output from your team members. This is the most significant thing I could ever teach a client. And when I get clients clarity on that, everything in their universe changes. Their relationships change, how they sell changes, their business changes. And that's pretty powerful. And then what's the last one?
Do you have positioning? No, don't. Positioning.
Oh, right. Branding. So this is branding. And, if you're branded, you have a major leak here. If you are a real estate company, you're branded as realty, you're branded as property, something generic like that. You're not branded as a property management company. And then you probably have other leaks if you're not using the right color, the right symbols, et cetera. So this is a major leak that we shore up. Included in our program, we tackle that and we solve that as well. We call this program the Rapid Revamp. We tackle each of these major issues. We will completely help you revamp your pricing, your brand, your website, all of this stuff, all these major leaks in 90 days. It's really fast. It takes about 2 weeks per item. There's 6 major leaks we're going to shore up. And what happens is, if you have any growth in your business at all, or you're ever getting any clients at all, this very easily, for most of our clients, will double the amount of business you're getting without changing any of this, without changing any of your lead sources, just by eliminating all of these blind spots and leaks that are preventing you from having the success and the growth that you've been craving. It makes everything easier. It lubricates the whole process and pipeline, makes everything easier. And some of our clients, just by doing this program alone, we didn't even have to focus on growth stuff. This was enough for them to start adding enough doors that it was painful and uncomfortable for them, that they needed to shift into focusing on operations, which, for those of you that feel like you're kind of beyond this, you're struggling not to add doors, but you're just frustrated with the team and operations and all that. We have what we call our DoorGrow Super System. It's brilliant. It's really effective. And that can help people out. We are about at time. Should I show the DoorGrow code real quick?
If you can do it in 2 minutes, yes.
All right. Let's see if I have Canva on here. Here we go. Okay. That is one of my pitch deck slides. I need to get out of it. Oh my gosh. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, here we go. Okay, let me show you the DoorGrow code. And if you'd like to learn more about us and go into deep dive with us, we can show you a lot of really cool stuff that'll blow your mind. But I'm going to just show you the DoorGrow code, which is our ultimate roadmap for growing and scaling a property management business. Here it is. Okay, so everybody should see this. Can I zoom?
Yeah.
I think if I can get all the stuff out of the way. Yeah, can I?
You
I don't know how to make it a full
share
screen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can do this.
That's better. Yeah.
All right, here you go. All right, so many of you, you can look at this right now and kind of identify, where are you on this DoorGrow code? Where are you right now? Are you, you can see in the column where it says doors, you can see your door level, and I'm trying to figure out. Okay, you can see your door levels. So, and we have some revenue minimums. You should be making at least $100 a door, right? Minimum. We always try to make sure our clients are at least doing that. So now you're a white belt if you have one door. If you have, you're a yellow belt if you have at least 50 doors. If you've broken the 100-door barrier, you're an orange belt. You're a promoter, and you can see our programs across the bottom. So if you take a look at this DoorGrow code, this is the path to becoming a black belt and having 1,000+ doors. We've systematized this. We have belt level requirements at each of these stages that we guide clients through. We know, I think, with greater clarity than any other coach or any other method or system out there, what it takes at each of these stages. I've been able to see inside thousands of companies, and we've worked with hundreds of clients. And over time, I just started to see patterns. This has your greatest question, usually, that you should be focused on. It has your greatest problem, usually at that stage. And it has what you need to stop doing, and it has your systems needed. And so we would love to get on a call with you, go over this with you, and help you figure it out. So some of the big mistakes we see a lot of people make is they don't have the operator that they need to get probably around 200 doors. They don't have all these systems in place you see across the bottom, like the process system, the people system, and the planning system. But they try to focus on profit. They try to like add more KPIs and squeeze more blood from the stone, when the most profitable thing you could do to get 3 times the output in your business would be to focus on getting the right team and getting these systems in place, not more KPIs and metrics, which is more micromanaging. So the profit system comes after you get these other systems in place. And this is how we grow and scale property management companies. So we would love to help you do that. For those of you that are clients, hopefully this gets you pumped up and excited and reinvigorated to continue to move through this. And those of you that are not your clients, which is most of you here, feel free to reach out. A KPI. KPI is basically is a metric by which
Performance indicator.
Yeah, it's a key performance indicator. It's just a metric by which you are requiring your team to hit. Like maybe a KPI is you have to be adding 10, 20 doors a month, like several of our clients do, right? You should be, whatever, for your BDM, which is a business development manager. So yeah. And okay, cool. So we need to end. I appreciate everybody hanging out. We would love to get your feedback on if you enjoyed this, and hopefully you got a lot of insights and you recognize that there's a future, I believe, for this industry that's going to be very powerful, that I think has a better pricing model. And we really at DoorGrow are committed to helping grow the best property management entrepreneurs. We want those that are the most contribution focused, that are going to change the world with us, that are going to positively impact tenants. I want you all to recognize, like, we really believe at DoorGrow that each of you are superheroes. You make 3 of the most difficult things in real estate magically better, right? You make tenants probably the most complained about thing on the planet. You make them better. Landlords, another one of the most complained about things on the planet. You make landlords show up and behave better. And rental properties, also very complained about. You make these better. You impact, through us, we get to impact hundreds of thousands of families and lives. And that means a lot to us. And we're excited to support those of you that share in our vision. And we would love to have a conversation with you. Feel free to reach out to our team. You can schedule a call right now by going to our homepage. You can just go to DoorGrow.com and click the big pink button right at the top of the page.
Message waiting.
Oh, I'm trying to message only everyone in meeting. There we go. All right, DoorGrow.com. And there's a button on the page. There's a free training that you can watch where I go into greater detail about all this. It will probably blow your mind. I have prettier slides. It's not drawings. And you'll learn a lot, and then you'll get access to that, and you'll be able to schedule and set up a call with our team. So we look forward to supporting each of you in your growth, especially those of you that are 200, 400 doors plus. We can really help you scale your business quickly. And that is all we have time for. So appreciate everyone being here. So until next time, to our mutual growth. Bye, everyone.